English is borrowing, adopting, changing, altering words all the time, as we've seen throughout these programmes. It's a massive job keeping track of them, being, as it were, the keeper of words.
If any one body deserves to be called the keeper of the English language, it's the Oxford English Dictionary, and that's my next stop. We've been travelling down the country from the Hebrides south, just taking soundings as to what the language is like these days, and I wondered how these figured in your dictionary. From the Outer Hebrides, there's bodach, like an old man.
An old man, yeah. And I believe that word actually still is in the Oxford English Dictionary, in the sense of an old, in a slightly earlier sense, a spectre, a spectral presence.
In Glasgow, there's the word nip being used as to get off with.
It's not in the dictionary yet in that last sense, no. We haven't got enough evidence for it. We're looking for fairly extensive evidence from Glasgow or elsewhere.
In Bradford, with the Punjabi and Urdu influence, there are several words. Kazmi, meaning I swear, there's ur, how's it going, and chuddies, underpants.
Chuddies is in the OED already, possibly from a Hindi word, and that's one of these words that's achieved some sort of currency through the media and through television. And the other words that you mentioned, no, they're not in the dictionary yet. Again, this is a borderline area, the interface between cultures. It's always an interesting area for linguistic description, and we'll tend to wait several years before a word finds some sort of more established place in the language before we put it into the dictionary. The operation going on behind us here is a sort of scientific investigation of the language. Evidence starts coming into our card files and our computer files, which we're monitoring, and we can see that it's maybe significant. Of course, so much of language is just sort of sparks that disappear.
Let's talk about slang, about bling bling.
Bling bling, meaning, ostentatious jewellery, or as an adjective relating to that, ostentatious wealth, that sort of thing. It crops up 5 or 6 years ago, but this stayed around, so it's on the way into the dictionary. It's not there yet, but it's on the way in there. It's being reviewed by our advisors or whatever at the moment.
What about the relation between English and American English, and now other Englishes?
The whole concept of different varieties of English is obviously more important now than it was, or more recognised now than it was 20 or 30 years ago. So whereas at the time you might have thought of British English and American English as being the main features on the linguistic landscape, people talk about the different Englishes as a sort of, now that you can count these days, so you can have a plural Englishes with American English, Australian English, Singaporean English, Indian English, etc., etc. And they've all got their own characteristics, so they're independent in many ways, but they also feed into a general sort of internet English, if you like.
What's the size of the dictionary at the moment?
About 750,000 words. This is covering English from the Anglo-Saxon period up to the present day.
You seem to have fairly tough requirements for taking words in. Do you ever dispense with words? Do you ever let words drop, kick them out?
We have a very simple rule for taking words out of the dictionary, and that is we don't. Once a word's in the full Oxford English Dictionary, it stays there because it's part of the history of the English language. So once it's in, it's there. Have you got any favourite ones you wanted to take out?